Hello, and welcome to the Wild Wild West podcast. My name is Richie Richey of the MHRT Network. Over that away is DZ representing his Los Angeles Chargers. Down below, we have the one, the only Nabman representing the Las Vegas Raiders. And we got a great show set up for you today. Most of our teams have gone through the rookie mini camps, or at least are in the throes of them right now. There's a ton of NFL news in terms of ebbs and flows. We have tryout players, and some of our teams have signed a few of those folks as well. So some other interesting news to bring up for you today on this Wednesday, May the 13th. And see, even my dog Bronco's excited. So we'll we'll jump right into it and and have at her, guys. How we doing today?
Good, man. Good, man.
Oh, good. Just busy.
And by the way, it's Richie's birthday, everybody.
Hey,
He's
happy
turning
birthday.
70 years old.
70. Just 70. I mean, isn't Mike McCarthy 70 ish?
You know, my cover's blown. I thought I could get away with it forever. There's a reason why I pegged the Broncos predictions for so many years. You know, it is what it is. Tough being a head coach and jumping on a podcast too. That's why my record's been so crap. I mean, sorry.
Yeah. You should just stick with one or the other, bro.
Yeah. Pick a lane and stay within it. So, anyways, guys, I appreciate it. But really, honestly and truly, some super interesting news. Also, some sad news out of Broncos country. Greg Morton passed away. Legendary Broncos quarterback. Also of note, if my stats and analysis proves correct, I believe he's also the first quarterback to play for two different teams making it to the Super Bowl. Not necessarily winning those Super Bowls, but making it to a Super Bowl for both, which is a feat in and of itself just to get that far, which I think a lot of us often fail to recognize, that making it to that game in and of itself is, kind of one of those upper tier moments in general. And so making it for two teams and kind of being in that rare air group is something that should be commended and recognized. He passed away, if I'm not mistaken, in his early to mid 80s. I have to get the exact age. But only 10 to 13 years older than I am, based on your based on my age there.
Let's be clear. Rich turned 43 today. Ripe age of 43. So to be clear.
Yeah.
But,
so
I mean, I put Morton, kind of put him in that Rich Gannon category. You know what I mean? And hell, you could put, Elway in that category for the longest time. I mean, the Broncos did a really good job of getting to Super Bowls without winning them for a very long time. Jim Kelly is another one. You know what I mean? Never won a Super Bowl, but man, he was in them all the time.
He was.
So,
he was.
Bills fans are going to start sacrificing their firstborns or goats or something here real soon, man.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, this one they have now needs to get to one. That's what he needs to do.
Right. True.
So,
yeah, I agree. Josh Allen really, by right, is a talented enough quarterback that he should be able to get his team into a Super Bowl based on how his play is. But he just seems to, against the Broncos, he just kind of imploded in that game. It was uncharacteristic for him, but he just absolutely let's put it this way. He was one of the few guys on the Bills roster that recognized that he was the reason, right? Like he came out and said like my shoulders, I did it.
Yeah.
And he owned his mistakes and frankly should be commended for doing so.
Dude, getting in the playoffs is like it's a different beast. You can just totally tell like certain teams that get in that squeak in the playoffs, riding off of like a couple players, and you get in the playoffs, man, and it's just like you go against teams. I mean, my team has seen it. You go against healthy teams, and it's only so much you can do, man.
Look, I mean, Lamar Jackson's another one. It's like the Ravens should have been in the hunt for Super Bowl every single year the last 4 years. No question. Should have been. They should have been playing in that game, but they didn't.
I mean, a lot of people have their theories on the Ravens with Lamar and John Harbaugh.
Oh, this is not going to be. I don't think this is going to be a great year for them.
We'll see. I mean, the rookie head coach, albeit very high on him, but yeah, man. I mean, he lost some key pieces.
Well, Linderbaum,
Charlie Kohler, they lost. I mean, we got two of their guys this year, Charlie and Keaton. We got two of their guys. You got one of their guys.
I mean, you get their center, crying out loud.
Yeah,
take the center out from underneath it.
So DZ, you more than most actually know how important and key that center position can be on your team in the offensive line. I mean, you lost your center a handful of years ago to that fluke injury.
Corey Linsley. He had a heart issue.
Yeah, he had a random heart issue that was kind of unknown and whatnot. Dude. And if you remember, I mean, I remember it vividly. You and I were speaking about this for some solid amount of time here, which is your team had a reasonably decent offensive line with him kind of calling the plays and getting guys set up and all that sort of thing.
He was so good that he could elevate the guys around him, essentially.
Correct. But that's exactly the thing, right? And then you lost him, and that's the difference between a center that's here and a center that's like down here. Is your team looked like you didn't know what you were doing?
It looked like ass, man.
Like it was bad. It was bad.
Mm-hmm. When you lose like a player that caliber, and you have to scrambling around just trying to plug and play guys or grab guys here and there. Hopefully they got it figured out this year with the Tyler Biotish signing, who I really like, but I think they're so scarred, from the last few seasons. And even if like this new regime looks back before they got there, I think that's another reason why they went after Jake Slaughter. Like I think they're willing to even bet that if Jake doesn't even start this year, they're going to be fine with it because they see him as the center of the future for the team. But if
you can develop a young guy who is a talented center who can learn the mental aspects of the game and then also learn the technique to be in that upper tier, you also have a coaching staff that values offensive linemen and the trench play in Harbaugh in particular. So he's going to push his coaches to develop those trench players.
Yeah,
that makes all the difference in the world. I mean, you have other guys. I mean, I'm not trying to belittle coaches on my opponent's teams, but like Mike McDaniel's problem, in my opinion, as a head coach was I don't believe he valued the trench positions enough. He wanted whiz bang. Like you saw what he had.
All weapons.
Yeah, he wanted the whiz bang flash track
and then
team.
The Chargers doubled down and brought his offensive line coach over. So okay, that might give me a little pause. They brought over Butch Berry, but Butch Berry has to be 10 times better than Devlin, who they had the last 2 years, who was absolutely dog shit at his position. We just hit 10. Thank you.
Dog shit.
Yeah, he was horrible. Guy shouldn't even have a job in the NFL. I have no clue how he had a job in the NFL. He's one of those guys. It's like you just look at his resume and you look at where his offensive line's ranked since he's been the guy, and they've been horrible. The one thing about Miami, from what I got the gist from the Dolphins fan base, is they never invested in the O-line, really.
No.
But that's what goes to Nav's point. It was just all weapons, right? So maybe they were more willing to bet on the weapons and the quick play, the quick action or quick pass game kind of thing, and the run game, where you don't really need to really, use you don't need a really good trench game. But we all know in the playoffs, man, you need damn good offensive line and good D-line.
Ask the Ravens and ask the Bills.
What's going on with Demonizon? What's going? He wants attention.
I think he's wanting attention. He's asking what we're talking about. If you're referring to what we're going to talk about on today's show, I can answer that. And the short answer is yes, we do respond to the chat. But if you're going to ask what we're talking about, the short answer is football. The longer answer on today's show is going to be rookie mini camp, as well as our team's respective news over the last week and a half. So obviously Broncos news, we have the sad passing of Morton, the quarterback for the Denver Broncos, who's in the Ring of Fame. And then we also have a ton of news across all the division in terms of rookie contract signings, UDFA signings, as well as some churn for, I believe, all of our teams in the UDFA, as well as tryout players. And this is the standard approach to the NFL season, where, I mean, these guys that we are all bringing in, there's a reasonable shot in this UDFA and tryout players, particularly for my Broncos, because we've just typically had unusually high success in terms of that side of the draft and everything.
Same with us. I mean,
and the Raiders. Yeah. But I'm just saying, overall in recency bias, you're looking at the narrowed scope of, say, the last 5 to 7 years. The Broncos have had dudes that we've signed as UDFAs that are now all pros, legitimate all pros at their position.
I mean, it's one thing to have UDFAs make the roster. I think all of our teams have had UDFAs make the 53.
Yeah.
This new regime with the Chargers, we've had a few make it, but when they become household names or, known within the football community, that's impressive. That's you're like, okay, man, wow, good job.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll throw one name out there for the collective group in the chat, just so you kind of have an idea. Jaquan McMillan, nickel corner for the Denver Broncos, UDFA. He's coming into he's now come into his kind of contract year this year. But I mean, I think you could arguably say he is a household name now in the nickel kind of center, dime cornerback position. Yeah. He's probably somewhere in the top 3, maybe top 2 in that general position in across the league. We saw him making those interceptions multiple times throughout the year last year, including those key ones in those critical spots in the playoff run for the Broncos last year. He's a legit player, and he's a undrafted free agent player that is the fact that the Broncos found him as a UDFA says an awful lot about the front office and the scouting department for the Denver Broncos in this regime.
My team just had to. Oh, go ahead, Neff. Sorry.
A lot of that's character. It's less about the talents, more about the character, where they know this dude's going to come in and work his ass off and learn something. You know what I mean? That's the big thing. It's like with the Raiders with Roman Hemby. Let me tell you something. With Roman Hemby, what that's going to be, that's a sign. He's going to be signed. He's going to be on the active 53 for 2 reasons. That he knows Mendoza inside and out. You know what I mean? As a quarterback, he knows tendencies. And he's going to. It's a familiar thing, And to be perfectly honest with you, the stuff I'm seeing, damn, I don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to freaking take a snap at first game of the season. I really don't know. From what I'm seeing in the videos I'm watching, I mean, Mendoza under center looks pretty damn good. I mean, I was just like, damn, I didn't expect. So from what I understand, Mendoza's taken 4 snaps in the last 2 years each year under center in college. 4. You know, I'm just like, that's not necessarily the best thing I'd like to hear, right? And
San Diego will never get a team for Poe.
Apparently, he just never even was asked to do so, but he didn't have a problem with it. I mean, he's 6'5", 235 pounds. He's not scared to turn his back on the offensive line. I mean, you know what I mean? When you're that size, it just doesn't – you're not scared of it, you know? So, but, I mean, Hemby, that dude, he's going – I really have a hard time believing he does not make the roster as a UD.
Yep.
So that just being said, and also, hey, all the Raider fans in here right now, Sacktown, Seth is in here. I'm sorry, I'm having to look real hard because I had my eyes. I had an eye doctor appointment today, so I have these freaking glasses on like goggles to see all this stuff because I don't have my big screen.
I've had back-to-back doctor's appointments, man.
Well, this was the eye doctor thing, so you know what they did. Freaking warm out. So anyway.
One of those doctors, but not that. Thank you.
Those eye doctor. Anyway. Eye doctor.
Telling everybody out there, man. You guys.
So anyway.
Chocolate Perfect checked out.
Got the old unit checked out. Anyway, Furpo, what's up, Raiders? Because fucking Furpo is the hardest working dude on the planet. Trash Dog's in the house, and who'd I miss? Was Kenna in here? I thought I saw Kenna for a minute.
Briefly, he's here.
And then, of course, I said Sacktown. So, hey, thanks guys for popping in. I will not be here long. This whole sell house, buy house thing, I might get a phone call. I might be out quick, bro.
Yeah.
Okay? All this
so
stuff
we so let's maybe get into the Raiders mini camp. Get into that just so we can get some feedback from you. Obviously, you have a unique situation. You have a quarterback who is, I would argue, not seen as a slouch. I would say that Kirk Cousins is a legitimate quarterback in the NFL who is he's not like the best in the upper echelon, but he's definitely in that kind of second tier.
I'll tell you what, Richie, his agent should be in the Hall of Fame.
I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
Question.
Like I actually agree with that. His agent, Kirk Cousins' agent right now, in terms of like the way he's handled his career, he deserves a gold jacket.
Get him a bust.
Man.
Until now, because after the Raiders, Cousins is done.
Probably.
I'm not sure about that. I actually think that what'll happen here is Kirk Cousins will go from the Raiders to another team as long as he shows that he can elevate Mendoza to go on to continue and do well. Because then Cousins will have this like aura about him to say he was always like pretty damn good, but he can also be a team player. And all that does is expand out the pool of teams that are going to want him. Like, you know what I mean? Like
he's only 37. Like, and I say only these days because we're seeing guys play longer, you know what I mean, with modern science. But yeah, you could be right, Richie. He could bounce to another team and be a backup there or help bring in the youth. Like, he's going to help bring in Mendoza. Maybe he'll go somewhere else next year or 2 years.
Do you know who did this? What was the guy's name? McGowan.
Yeah, I remember McGowan. Yeah.
McGowan.
Yeah,
so
McCowan.
Yeah, McCowan. Sorry, McCowan. So McCowan came into like 3 different teams and was that savvy vet that the team brought in to act as like a stopgap and like a second coach on the field, you know, to kind of use those.
Chargers had that with what's his name? He's on TV now. What the hell's it? Keep talking. We just had that guy. He was with us, but he's now on TV. He just bounced around the team to team as a backup.
Yeah.
His name
So
is.
McCowan there is a guy that went to 2 or 3 different teams, like literally year after year, and then stuck with the Jets for about 2 years um, to try and kind of like usher in the rookie quarterback. And every team that had him there was saying, like, that dude's just a coach in waiting. Like he is at that caliber in terms of football IQ.
Right.
He doesn't have the skill sets, like in terms of like the athletic ability to be that elite level talent, but he basically took modest athletic ability and got himself to like a 20-year NFL career or something stupid like that in terms of duration, all because of his football IQ. And he's a guy that I think could end up continuing on coaching and all that kind of stuff. By the way, Phillip Rivers is a better version of someone like McCowan, who actually was a damn good NFL quarterback, but has the humbleness, I think, in order to coach and elevate other players. And I think he'd be, we already saw him getting a few interviews and stuff like that. I think he's a guy that will intrigue a good number of teams just in terms of his football IQ as well.
Right.
Dag nabbit, I'm sure he will.
The
guy I'm thinking of is I think it's Daniels. Chase Daniels. Chase Daniels. That's the guy.
I mean, you also have Cade McNown. You have Kellen Moore is another one is an offensive coordinator in the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Kellen Moore, obviously.
Didn't he go from being a quarterback to an OC on the same team?
Yes.
I think with the Cowboys, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
Yes.
No, he went to quarterbacks coach, and then he was the OC with the Eagles, I think, after that.
Well, he went to the Chargers to OC and really didn't have a fair shake at it because they dealt with too many injuries that year.
Yeah.
I mean, what's new, but right.
But Kellen Moore won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. Is that right?
It's so weird. I think Kellen Moore was the OC under Brandon Staley.
Yes, he was.
And now he's the head coach, and Brandon Staley's his DC.
How crazy is that shit?
It is. Flip it. Kind of funny.
It's like me, the job I have. My boss is the dude.
Jay Weaver. Good.
I was his boss. I was his boss. Now he's my boss. I'm like, damn, I hope I was a good job as a boss.
Well, who celebrate. Happy schedule eve, gentlemen. We've had a few leaks, right?
Yes, we have.
So go ahead.
I have a document that one of my buddies I have to look into it, but the last time I got the document from this guy, the schedule was pretty bang on. Like there wasn't a single game that was wrong. So
yeah, there's some leaks. I don't want to like I want to be surprised and pissed off because I'm be like, God damn it. But I think the one everybody saw was the Broncos and Chiefs, right? And then I think
you can pretty much lock that in.
Right.
Like that's a guarantee. Yeah.
I think the game that kicks off the season just got leaked before our show, or not leaked, but they talked about it. It's a Super Bowl rematch in Seattle. It's Patriots Seahawks. I think that kicks off the season this year, which will be good. We'll see how that goes.
Over under if Rossini's in the stands.
I got the Patriots in that one.
They did improve. I mean, yeah.
I mean, all the Seahawks did was get worse. They won a Super Bowl, and then all they did was like kick their freaking Super Bowl MVP.
Time will tell about the Seahawks. I like they're a good drafting team. I like the way they draft, but you can't rely on rookies. I feel like, especially year one.
Right.
Sorry,
I mean,
I'm going to add something to that, which I think is an interesting caveat. You can rely on rookies, but it's not a smart move. So basically, the point is that like the Seahawks, when they came out of that kind of slump, they came out of that slump because of the rookies that they had on the roster. But it is a rare thing to have rookies hit so quickly and elevate your team to that level. And and the Seahawks were certainly the benefactors of a solid draft class with that kind of like 3 or 4 core group in the backfield. Now, the whole point here, though, is, and I agree with you, is like lightning in a bottle twice. Do you really think that you're going to be able to reinvigorate your team with nothing but a rookie draft class? And I look, I would love to have that be, the truth, because to see the Patriots lose in a fashion like that would be great. But I just don't see it happening. I kind of agree with Nav. I think the Patriots they've shown the discipline required in the offseason to build a team the right way, and I think that they have improved as opposed to gotten worse. Where the
You don't think that this Rossini thing is going to be a distraction for their team this offseason?
Not enough for the Seahawks to lose to them.
So is Vrabel?
But the thing about the Patriots,
what is Vrabel in rehab for?
Who knows, dude? I don't know. He's a piece of crap.
He is in rehab for what he's probably claiming is a sex addiction. In order to save face with his wife.
Is that Diana Rossini or some shit like that?
Look, dude, for all the respect I had as him for a player and a coach, I've lost a lot of it from all these reports that have come out.
I mean, what the hell is this dude doing, bro?
Like, you know what? They're gonna sweep it under the rug. Like,
guys, you're missing the bigger story in this entire thing. Diana Rossini named or had her son named Mike.
Yeah.
Oh, huh.
Weird. No, and sorry, Nav. And this is the son that she gave birth to, that the doc photo was about, with her being 7 months pregnant.
Yep.
So
with him
Mike
on the freaking dock.
With him on the dock and her 7 months pregnant, and them going off on a boat together with her being 7 months pregnant. At the end of that, 2 months later, she goes out and names her son Mike.
Mike, yeah.
If she should have went on and just said Mike Jr.
Yeah, I agree. That was kind of my gut reaction when I heard that too.
But look, we got to remember, like, I'm looking at the Patriots, right? Like, I know we were arguing about who's going to be better. Like, I was looking at the Seahawks, who they lost. Obviously, losing their Super Bowl MVPs, massive, right? And going to our division rival, which, like, that sucks. But, I think they lost 2 coaches. They lost their OC.
Oh, what coach did they lose?
They went to your guys' new head coach. And then did he bring one more with you?
He's going to be difficult to replace in Seattle. I'm just saying.
I think they elevated their QB coach as their next OC, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And then they only lost like 3 players, though. I mean, it's like 3. It's Boya Mafe. It was Kenneth Walker, and then I want to say it was a cornerback of a pretty good one. So I can see them turning around. I like Mike McDonald. I like that staff. I like how they draft up there. Now, Patriots, I'm going to disagree with you, Nav. They're going to get better because they're still on the cusp of getting AJ, right? We're all thinking that's going to happen after June. But are we forgetting that they had one of the easiest schedules in like NFL history last year?
They did.
And they just happen to have Richie's quarterback just happens to bust his ankle up or something and miss that game. And
I had Broncos all the way in that.
They should have been in the Super Bowl. They should have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree.
But I mean, so I'm not so sure. I think they're going to be a really good team. I just don't think.
And DZ, for the record, I'm not sure we would have won the Super Bowl.
The Seahawks was really good, but yeah.
But we for sure should have been in it, and I can virtually guarantee you we would have looked better than the Patriots in the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, like, for sure.
I mean, defensively, just your guys' defense, you know what I mean, alone would have been a lot better. Yeah.
Well, and the thing about it is, the problem I'm going to have with the Seahawks is Kubiak has a way of adapting to the way gameplay is going.
He's a damn good OC
and stuff. You can you can elevate a quarterback coach all you want, but when you have a coach that has that kind of feel for the game,
yeah,
that's a big loss.
That's my worry with losing Minter to Baltimore.
Yeah.
It's when you have these coordinators who just get in that game flow and they understand. It's one thing to run the same scheme, like we're gonna run pretty much the same similar thing, but it's like, I don't know, Chris, like Minter had this going in, some games, and now you've got some big shoes.
I can add to that. So my team had pasta and meatballs Vic Fangio as our head coach, who is basically the defensive coordinator because John Elway was effectively taking over the offensive play calling duties along with the other offensive coaches there. But what you saw when Fangio left was they tried to keep one of his lackeys on as a defensive coordinator to replace Vic Fangio. There is only one Vic Fangio. That dude just understands football. Like he's at a different level than most other defensive coordinators in the NFL. And I mean, at the time, his defense, the Broncos had a losing record, but we were keeping the Super Bowl champions at the time, which are the Kansas City Chiefs, who were basically always winning during that little block and stretch there. During Vic Fangio's little stint with the Broncos and everything, we kept the Kansas City Chiefs within one score in almost every game. And the Broncos had like one of the worst records in the NFL. But Vic Fangio knew exactly what to do with Patrick Mahomes. So he was like, "You're done. like I have you covered. You're on lockdown." And that is exactly what we saw with the Broncos, DZ. I'm mirroring and agreeing with you 100%, which is, you can claim to do the same thing, but there is only one original. There's only one original, and that original has the football IQ to navigate the nuances of the game and the flow of the game to kind of know which lane to go in and why to go there.
Well, and the thing is, just because it didn't work on that play doesn't mean it isn't going to work 5 plays from now. So don't ditch it. Just have the feel for it when it's the right time. You know what I mean?
And I want to quickly speak to this from Cornbread because this is a very similar scenario with my Denver Broncos going on this year. This is very different, though.
Yeah.
So Davis Webb is in, if I'm Davis Webb, of course I'm coming back to the Broncos because Sean Payton is one of the most successful head coaches in NFL history, almost period, right? In terms of win percentage and respect, offensive prowess, etc. And you have an opportunity to learn from him directly. And what is great for Davis Webb is he's stepping in by forcing his way into the offensive coordinator position because Sean Payton and the Broncos don't want to lose him. And Davis Webb has literally a tremendous opportunity here to stack years upon years over the next 3 to 4 years. It was kind of what I'm thinking of learning under Sean Payton while having Sean Payton kind of still act as that stopgap, which is something that DZ, to your comment and to what my comment about Vic Fangio was, our teams never had that luxury of having those guys act as stopgaps to their proteges.
Stacked.
Yeah. You don't have the stacking. It was guy goes and now you have this guy on their own and you hope they work out, right? Whereas the Broncos have Davis Webb and Sean Payton, and Davis Webb, in my opinion, for what it's worth, made a great decision, and Davis Webb also made a great decision as to not fail by staying with the Broncos and doing well. Right?
Yes.
You can level yourself up and truly succeed. And basically, in my opinion, Davis Webb has the opportunity to do what Josh McDaniels didn't have the wherewithal to do.
Right.
McDaniels should have stuck around with the Patriots and just leveled up his personal success with the organization. And then when Belichick initially or inevitably failed because he decided to start chasing after 21-year-old tail.
I mean, come on, bro. Do you blame him?
Yes, I do. That woman's psycho.
But he was sick.
Sure, but that woman's insane. But anyways,
Don't care.
I
mean,
look, my answer is wrong head. Okay, and
that's okay.
Yeah. So, but inevitably, the point is that Belichick was basically steering the ship in the wrong direction, and the team would have eventually needed to move on from him, and McDaniels would have been seen as the natural heir apparent to just simply take over for that organization when he returned, and he just failed.
The French toast.
Wait, McMillan held off a top 10 pick. What?
Forgot to switch it to me.
Held off the top 10 pick.
I just kind of put like some breaking news. Devon Achane just signed a 4-year, $68 million deal with the Dolphins. So they locked him down.
What a dumbass. I mean, I wouldn't. No way.
I mean,
no.
I mean, unless you're all about money, I'm just saying.
They got new staff down there, so maybe he's excited about the new regime. I don't know.
That's a shit show. That's a biggest shit show on earth.
The Dolphins?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's because of the ownership. The ownership is steering that franchise in the wrong direction, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
Maybe it is for the money and the weather. So he's like, I'm going to have
Jack, you are not wrong. McMillan for my Denver Broncos did, in fact, hold off a top 10 pick as an undrafted free agent. That's exactly what I'm getting at, though, is that like he is.
I see what you mean.
He's at a different level in terms of general players in the undrafted class. Jack, you may recall a guy by the name of Chris Harris Jr. He was also a nickel cornerback for my Denver Broncos, who was an undrafted free agent. So the Broncos have had even a recency bias of being able to find guys who ended up being elite at that inside backer position. So,
hey, Kenna, dude, if you want to be on the show, just come on the show. It was yours to begin with, bro.
Trying to get out of the cap. What was that? Trying to get out of the cap. What was he saying? Cornbread? Dude, I love that nickname, Tokyo Toe. That's got to be one of my favorites. That is such a cool freaking name.
Tokyo Toe. Is that Matsukawa or Matt? Yeah,
your guys' guy, right?
Now he kicks the shit out of it too.
Dude, such a cool nickname, man.
Kicks the hell out of football.
Salute David Zahn.
Smashes it. Zahn's that's a different animal right there.
Oh, he's talking about the Dolphins. Okay.
Careful with Zahn. He's a different animal.
So he was saying
another Navy dude.
He's sharp as hell.
So DZ overall, I agree. DZ overall, I agree with your general comment though, which is there are certain coaches, that just kind of get it, and I think that's just like
game flow and seeing things how it should go.
Yeah.
Kind of like they're like savants, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But to this guy's credit that I'm talking about, Chris O'Leary, he was in their plans for a while. He's like they were grooming him, and I hate saying that term, but they were grooming him to be the next DC because they knew Minter was going to get a head coaching gig. But was this maybe a year too soon? This could be the case. Like this might have been, they might have had to move this up because he was only at Western Michigan for one season, right? Acting as a head coach. So we'll see how this works this season. Luckily, the majority of the staff on that defensive side is still there, and same with the players starter wise. So, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'm excited about this season.
Yeah,
I think we're screwed again. I think they screwed the AFC West again in we can't go off records from previous seasons, but did you guys see the the strength of schedule or no strength of opponents? My bad, because we don't know the schedule yet.
SOP 9.1. Was that what it was?
And the AFC West is all the way up to the top.
Yeah, 9.1 or something like that.
And I'm like, every effing year.
I'm like,
oh God.
Okay.
But the thing is if you're going to be honest and you look at the true assessment, the AFC West has been in the championship for the AFC for in terms of potentially going to the Super Bowl or going to the Super Bowl
between the Chiefs and the Broncos.
Between the Chiefs and Broncos for like a decade and a half, basically.
Yeah.
And so it almost doesn't matter, is what
I just wish the NFL would throw my team a bone like they did with the Patriots. They're like, whoever did the Patriots last year was like, that's some Illuminati shit if I ever saw it.
It's just the thing about it is all it is just a bait for a letdown, though. I'd rather have just an ass whooping all year long and then get into the playoffs and freaking pussies are in the playoffs. I'd prefer that, to be honest with you.
I mean, yeah, I could see that. Do you think Singleton would be fine?
You didn't deserve to be there if you weren't playing the opponents that got you there to begin with.
Which Vance is getting a head coaching gig?
So the consensus within Broncos country is that they think that Vance has had 2 or 3 years of back-to-back success in the defensive side of the ball. And due to the Rooney Rule and some other things, they definitely think that he's going to be given a shot sooner rather than later to become a head coach again.
I don't see it in the NFL. I see it in college. Maybe.
I think that he will get an opportunity at the NFL level to get a head coaching gig again. We saw, here, let's put it this way, DZ. We saw Minter with some pretty stellar defensive stats get a head coaching gig option again, or for the first time. And I think that with Vance Joseph having been a head coach and then showing that when he's put into that second tier position can build a defense and keep it sustained for multiple years, I think that he is definitely if he can show that the Broncos defense can maintain their success this year. Now, let's be real. If the Broncos had similar success this year, I would like to know if that's a record. Because the Broncos have set the sack record 2 years in a row in the NFL. And if the Broncos can have similar success again, I would like to know if that's an NFL record for an NFL team to go 3 years in a row with the being at the top of the NFL sack record. Because if it's not, it's got to be darn close.
I've got some teams to throw out where he could be potential landing spot.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
So these are some teams I think would be. These are some head coaches that I think could be in the hot seat if their season just collapses. I think Zach Taylor, Cincinnati Bengals.
Mm-hmm.
I think if this comes crash burning again, they're going to ship him out. Todd Bowles, Tampa Bay. Another guy, Shane Steichen, Colts. Maybe not. I mean, they collapsed last year. They looked unstoppable for a minute, right? And then Brian Schottenheimer, the Cowboys.
Yep.
And then here we go, Nick Sirianni of the Eagles. I think he could be another guy in the hot seat.
So I think the Eagles is a good call. I think the Cowboys is a great call. Jerry Jones loves his defense to be dominant on the field. And I could totally see Jerry Jones, after going with the offensive side of the ball with McCarthy and not working out and all that kind of stuff, I could totally see him moving in the direction of a guy like Vance Joseph, who has shown that he can elevate a team on the defensive side of the ball and dominate.
Now, do we think Jerry could look past the obvious on Vance Joseph because I don't remember seeing that type of coach in the Cowboys organization.
I do. I mean, I think ultimately you're seeing Jones, who has got tremendous relationships with the likes of like DeMarcus Ware and other former players that have come through his organization overall. So yeah, I think he can because I think here's my honest take of Jerry Jones. I think Jerry Jones, what you're seeing from the Cowboys right now, is Jerry Jones wants to have his last hurrah.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's
he's in the I'm about to die mode, and I
Yes.
want to win another Super Bowl before I die.
He's 83.
Yeah,
I mean,
the dude right now is like literally in this thing where come hell or high water, I want another Super Bowl in Dallas before I'm 6 feet under in the ground.
It reminds me of like a super villain from like Star
Yeah.
Wars or something.
well,
You know,
I'm currently making plans to not make it to 70. And there's no way I've been stressed out more than that dude. And so, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But those are the teams I think that could put maybe, and so surprise guys, I don't know, maybe Shanahan of the Niners, but
I mean,
maybe.
whoa.
That'd be a curveball.
Wouldn't it?
I'd say the potential is there. I'm just not sure. I think Shanahan would be given an opportunity to basically fix the strength and conditioning program because their problem right now has been injuries.
Healthy.
They can't keep them healthy.
I know Nav doesn't want to hear it. I will forever wear my tinfoil hat on this until they move that, pretend this is me wrapping tinfoil. Until they move that facility away from their thing, they're going to be screwed from the get. That's just me. I love it. I love there's conspiracy in the NFL of where they train next to some electric facility or some BS. You know what I mean? Like until they put up lead curtains or something, nope, they're screwed.
So, my point though is that ultimately,
that's
Shanahan
bullshit.
will be.
I knew you'd say that. Yeah.
Shanahan will be pushed to make strength and conditioning changes before they let him go. He's got too much respect across the NFL, and he's been able to elevate rosters that had no business getting to where they got.
Dude, I could see him it going piss poorly again or something, and then him doing the Mike McDaniel route and just build himself back up in the coordinator.
I don't think he needs to. I honestly think that Shanahan will get fired on a Friday, and he'll be hired before the end of the weekend.
Yeah, you're probably right.
That's
no, so it'd be the next morning.
Yeah, he's super good, but that's just my curveball guy. You know what I mean? Because
Shanahan gets fired on Friday. The next morning, another coach gets fired, and Shanahan gets hired by the team that fired their coach.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the way that would work. It'd be that quick. Wouldn't even be a thing. You know what I mean? That's
so. Hey, I love this this question here by Cornbread, and Cornbread, appreciate you joining the chat and the show. We were talking in the green room that we love having folks join and be active like this. This is a fantastic question. Cornbread is a Broncos fan, as you can tell by the question and the framing of it. But I do think that the actual question is a fantastic one for each of us here on the show. And this fits very much into the rookie mini camp and adding into the competition and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and answer this question.
Rock and roll.
I am going to say, Cornbread, that while I agree Red Murdoch, I think, is the obvious answer for our Denver Broncos, I believe that the guy that's probably going to rock the boat the most for the Broncos is not going to be Red Murdoch. Red Murdoch, I think, is going to probably make the 53-man roster. I think the guy that's going to rock the boat the most for the Denver Broncos 53 is going to be Miller. And he is the 6'9" offensive tackle that we signed to an absolute stupid dollar value as a UDFA. So he had a $275,000 guarantee as an offensive tackle UDFA out of Iowa State. He is 6'9", 336 or 339 as weight. He is an offensive tackle, and he is drum roll please, a natural right tackle. That's where he played at Iowa State. And so if we're talking a natural competition for the Denver Broncos, we have a guy already, Mike McGlinchey, who's like 6'7". So our right tackle is already quite a bit taller than the norm in the NFL. And I think Tyler Miller and McGlinchey are going to be kind of two peas in a pod in terms of how one can read off the other. And Tyler Miller has been known, and his coach and everyone that's actually come out publicly about him is that the dude's like in his mid-20s, but when you speak to him, you swear he's in his like mid-40s. He is that mature for his age, and I think he's going to be playing with purpose because he is also married with kids. So he has something to play for in the NFL, which is a unique position for most of these young guys. And so he's going to come in with his head down, and he's going to look to make that roster with purpose. I think that Miller is the guy, for me, that fits the mold for my Denver Broncos. I'm going to throw down a Nav just in case he gets pulled away.
Well,
who do you have for your team?
And that's probably going to happen. I'm waiting for a text here.
Yeah.
So, to be honest with you, the obvious answer is Mendoza. I'm not going to go there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's stupid to even. It's like everybody can say that. I'm going to tell you what, the steal of the draft, if he can be healthy, is Jermod McCoy.
Yeah.
Jermod McCoy is the steal of the draft.
1,000%.
The dude is already freaking on the field at a high level. So he's already freaking participating. He's already freaking rolling hot. He's already picking balls off, including Mendoza's. So I'm just saying, he's the dude's a gamer, and he went through some crazy shit, missed the entire season with Tennessee. And I'm telling you what, the Tennessee Volunteers would have been a hell of a lot better team last year if that dude hadn't tore his ACL.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So him by himself, he's a game changer.
He's locked down. He can lock down one side of the field.
4th rounder? Really? 101?
Well,
come on.
That knee is it's a legit red flag.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, 4th round though.
Yeah, it was too sweet for the Raiders to pass up.
Yeah.
I mean, I wanted him. I was hoping he'd be there for us, and you guys made the move.
And the dude's right in all ways. You know what I mean? He's professionally right. You know, he's not an issue. He's fast. He's tall. He's rangy, big hands, long wingspan, and can run with any. He could probably be a starting wide receiver for most NFL teams as a corner. You know what I mean? I mean, dang. Come on. That is the steal of the draft for me, if he stays healthy.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. DZ, what about your team?
I think, I was trying to understand this guy's question. You want to introduce to the competition. Does that mean to introduce to you guys? Is that what he's saying?
No, so he's basically saying, so you have a team, and your team has a certain roster composition, and you're saying I want this guy in the competition because I think he's going to be like,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That guy.
For me, I mean, there could be a couple of these guys. It's a very trench heavy draft for the Chargers. So I will go.
I'm upset, by the way.
I'm so stoked that they injected youth in the
No. You're happy. I'm upset. See
mean,
the difference?
we'll
Like, it's good for you. I'm not happy for my team or Nav's team for that matter, because some of the dudes that you guys picked up as even UDFAs, like
pissed off.
Isaiah World.
Not happy, man. I don't like it. Stop it.
I mean, Isaiah World, they got him, and they're just probably they're just gonna be like, we know that this guy is gonna be an excellent prospect. We're gonna shut you down, and we'll see you in 27. Yep. But the guy to answer Cornbread Emma's question for me, who I'd like to introduce is Brennan Thompson, man. Brennan Thompson paired with Mike McDaniel. I mean, look, dude, this guy is not big by any means. He's 5'9" and 3/8, $164. I'm sure they're gonna have him add some weight, but this dude runs a 4.26, like a 4.2 something, just insanely fast. And we've seen what Mike can do with speed down in Miami, right? When they had, yeah, I mean, literally, that's Mike saying, "Say hello to my little friend." I think he's going to compete for special teams with Darius Davis and Keaton Mitchell. I think Keaton Mitchell's another speedster. People don't remember when he's healthy, he's like a 4.2 something guy. But he's been banged up in the last few years in Baltimore. But this Brennan Thompson, the film I watched on this guy, you think he would just be a gadget player? No, dude, they had him lined up wide, and they're like, just beat that cornerback. And my concern is with these NFL cornerbacks, they're a different breed, right? These are the best of the best. Probably this outside of quarterback, NFL cornerback is probably the hardest position in all of sports, or in the NFL, I guess, right? And so if I were this kid, I'd be like, don't let them touch you. If they touch you, they put a hand on you, they're pushing you off your route. But if you can get this guy in open space, even lining him out wide, you know what I was thinking about wide receiver screens where you bunch them up, you'd run trips or something, bunch this kid up, just put him in the back, have one or two dudes block, and just let this guy take off. No one, I mean, absolutely no one is going to catch him, and just have Justin throw bombs to this kid. That's me in a perfect world. I think he has a chance to be special, but yeah, size is a concern, especially a guy that small, in the NFL, but we've seen it work. We'll see.
The other question, if he does get caught, so let's say like the
hell
strong
down.
safety,
get in your fetal position.
Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, if the strong safety or free safety kind of ends up like sweeping and like blowing the dude up, you are concerned with a guy of that size getting hurt, right? Yeah.
I watched some of his film, and I was like, okay, like, you can play, dude. Like, all right, man, you aren't just this one trick pony, because they had him do a lot of different stuff. Hope is disappointment deferred. That's a good saying. Yeah,
I like it.
I mean, it's not right though, the way you just put it. Think about that, Richie. Think about
it. Can be the other, but you're not wrong. Like, 50% of hope is exactly what you just wrote.
Yeah,
basically. Yeah.
You need to add one more word.
Yeah,
one more word needs added. Yeah. So, hey guys, I got about 5 minutes. Work's calling me.
Sure,
I'll be calling me in about 5 minutes. I just have a few notes I just want to throw out there for the nation. Sorry, I'm having to bail off on you guys, man. I got a lot going on.
It is. That's life, buddy.
But anyway, so here's my big thing with the Raiders. So with the mini camps and all this, I just said it's pretty obvious Besh has been putting into work in the off season. I saw a video of that dude. He looks like a freaking linebacker. I don't know what this slot receiver has done to himself. if he's like shooting up or what. This dude's a freaking monster. I don't know. So, Raider Nation, Jack Besh, our second-year dude we drafted last year. Don't sweat this guy. I'm telling you, he's going to be really good. And to be honest with you, yeah, we got Naylor in the offseason. That doesn't mean he's going to be our wide receiver one. Could be this dude, even though he's a slot receiver. Our wide receiver one's Brock Bowers, but
yep. I was just going to say that.
Tight end. So, all right, here's the next one. So, Cameron McGrone. This dude, it's an under-the-radar pickup. We actually got rid of a wide receiver for this linebacker. So he's been all over everywhere. I think we got him out of Indy. Yeah, we got him from Indy. So also dumped out Davis as well. Special teams dude. He's a 6'1", 236 linebacker.
Good size.
It runs a 4.37. So that's a special teamer all day long to me. Mm-hmm. So beautiful thing. Could develop into something else. Love that they're out there looking for freaking the traits, right?
Yeah.
And trying to get special teams built up because our special teams absolutely sucked last year. Here's the one that concerns me. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I'll be right there. Okay. Here's the one that concerns me. So Spencer Burford. So he's a left/right guard. Lot of freaking chatter out there that he might be a starting guard for us. That would mean one of two things. JPJ's fired or Jordan Meredith's fired.
I think it'd be Meredith. Or do you think you trade JPJ?
I think they trade JPJ.
And I'm just like,
I mean, this is a new regime. People like you can't stay married with some of these cats.
But I'm just saying, it's kind of like, I mean, we're talking about, I mean, you're going to take a freaking asshole cap hit on freaking JPJ if you trade him, though.
Yeah, but who outside of JPJ, who's your back? Would it be Meredith as your backup center?
The backup center would be Meredith at that point.
Yeah, so you're keeping one of them because you're going to have Linderbaum and you're going to keep one of those other guys. You're not messing around. It's one or the other.
Meredith's not. I mean, JPJ is a true center guy. You know what I mean? But
but you signed Linderbaum to a big contract.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This dude Burford comes in there, so either Meredith or JPJ's out of there because of Linderbaum.
If they go money wise, it's going to probably be Meredith. You'd think, right?
I would say from a money perspective, Meredith's bye.
Yeah.
But that's if so I'm hearing it from everywhere. This dude Burford is going to take one of those guard jobs. It's going to happen.
I mean, it's a good problem to have, but then you're going to be one of the guys.
To me, it's shitty because I don't want it to be JPJ because I'm a big fan of that dude. You guys,
everybody loves him. Everybody loves his style of play.
Yeah, I'm like, I've sent him several IGs.
Has he responded?
Well, a couple times. I'm like, guarding cap, bro, do it, make it happen. He goes, got you, bro. I don't know. Hey, so I don't know.
You're a big guardian cap guy or what?
No, I'm like, if you're a fucking offensive lineman, and you're having a problem with concussions, guardian cap's a great way to make it.
Didn't they come out with that new shell that goes over the front right here?
That's what it is.
Instead of wearing that whole, thing over the helmet.
Well, the problem is with that shell you're talking about, that's like a test thing. The problem is the person that's hitting in front of you gets hurt worse than you because of it. It's like,
because of this thing. What
yes.
you're saying.
So so the Guardian cap thing, it's just literally just a little bit more of a bumper in between. It's kind of like NASCAR. They put.
I'm hearing mixed.
But you also have, but in fairness, on the Guardian cap side, you have data that shows that it is protective and works and is functional. Whereas
I've heard the opposite of that. It's the positives on it are like minuscule compared to like.
But what I'm talking about is when you're talking about offensive and defensive linemen, they don't hit each other at a high velocity like corners and safeties and
wide. But they're always bumping heads, man. They're always bumping heads.
But the thing is, but they don't do it at velocity.
No.
So any little thing will help.
Yeah.
For that. You know what I mean?
I think it's great for practice. I love seeing these guys word in practice and all that stuff.
That's what it is. Q collar.
It looks like they look ridiculous in the games with them. I think what are the Saints rolled out a different, or is it college teams or the Saints? Someone rolled out the new Guardian caps where they look just like the helmets.
Yeah. Exactly like them.
They're they like instead of that bubbly kind of thing.
Well, you guys remember? Are you old enough to remember Don Beebe?
Might be. I'm too young for that.
From the Bills, wide receiver Don Beebe for the Bills. He had this he had his helmet on, and then he had this like foam Bills thing over top of it.
Oh yeah. I remember him
back in the day. Let's see. I'm gonna look him up.
No, Don Beebe.
All right.
BEEBE.
No, but he had the precursors to the Guardian cap, effectively.
Yes.
Was he a football coach? Did he become a football coach?
Don Beebe.
Yeah. I want to see if I can find one of those pictures of him. Okay, yeah, I see him. Let's see. Oh my God, yes, I see that. What the hell is that?
It was ridiculous, bro. It was massive.
Whoa.
Yeah.
I'm getting total Spaceball vibes. I'm getting a Lord Helmet vibes from seeing that.
Richie, you see that? My Schwartz is as big as yours.
Yeah, it's and it was the red. It was the red Bills helmet too. What I just saw. Oh my goodness! Wow. So he was a pioneer of this before.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
He just put whatever up there. He's like, man, I'm sick of headaches. That's what his thing was. Is he got headaches after games.
I mean, there's another aspect to this. It's mouthpieces are a huge deal with concussions.
Yep.
Your jaw moving around, that whole thing. I mean, that's mouthpieces. But you see NFL players. What do we see? What real quick, Richie? What do we see when the plays line up? A lot of these guys' mouthpieces are hanging out. They're not putting them in. Like very rarely are some of these guys putting them in. So it's like,
So the one thing that I can say from rugby, playing at a high level, is the mouthpieces were mandatory. And the reason why the mouthpieces were mandatory in rugby is because it goes in your mouth and it prevents your lower jaw from pushing your upper jaw up into your head.
Yes.
Like, it's just that simple. Like, it is not a complicated theory as to why the mouthpiece is needed and why it's used.
Vibration.
And it's the vibration upwards as well.
I just saw a post.
There it is.
It's a big deal.
Hey, guys.
All right, Navi.
All right, I'm just gonna pop off right quick.
Yep.
Kenna, if you're out there, if you want to pop on, rock and roll, do your thing. Oh, unless he's. I just saw a post, Richie, of mouthpieces. I mean, you probably wore mouthpieces where you just dip them in the hot water, stick them in your mouth, and that's it. There's nothing fun about them. I saw a post with kids have these days. It's wild. They got fangs.
Mine were dentist built.
Okay, gotcha. Did she have braces on or something? Probably.
No.
Or just
no. Mine were through dentists where they
is that a Canadian thing or
no? So my original mouthpieces were boiling water, and then I bit down on them, and that was the thing.
Right.
But The ones that you get from the dentist are made from a slightly different material that are more durable and can
Okay.
withstand the
They're not
like
some cheap Riddell rubber.
yeah,
crap you buy.
and like my problem is I go through a mouthpiece every 3 weeks.
I chewed the hell out of mine like crazy.
No, like I didn't even chew it. Is like I would literally get kicked. Like I would physically have a foot in the bottom part of my chin kicking my mouthpiece up like 4
So
times a
you'd go
game.
through it. You'd go through
Like
it.
I
Yeah.
literally would bite through my
Yeah.
mouthpiece. Like every game I had 2 of them in my bag on the sideline.
Yeah, I should
Um,
add more. But I just saw. This reason I'm bringing this up is because I saw like some posts on Instagram. They've got Kool-Aid flavored mouthpieces now. Like, I'm like, this is wild. Where was this when I was growing up? First of all, that would have been pretty fun, but it's also kind of ridiculous in the same sense.
Yeah, so a couple of my buddies had eyes on their mouthpieces, like the
Yeah, but that was
snake eyes.
that was the barely extent to our mouthpieces. What these kids have, they have these things now where they're like fangs and gold grills and all this
Yeah.
crazy. I mean, it's pretty wild. Whatever.
Yeah, I totally agree. So I do want to bring up a couple things on the Broncos side of things here. So a couple things on the Broncos side, just for benefit of the audience. I want to bring up Caleb Lohner.
Oh, you were talking about him before the show.
So he's a unique dude, someone that I think is important for Broncos country and frankly the rest of the AFC West to kind of keep on the radar. He is a former basketball player,
Definitely looks like it.
6'7", 260 some odd pounds. He is a big, tall dude, kind of like a Gronk kind of deal in terms of his size and frame. So just kind of giving you guys an idea. He's got that kind of goofy look to him, kind of the way that Gronk did too. And last year, he was probably the most hated Broncos draft pick by almost all analysts and fans.
Because he was all traits. He was a trait guy.
He was pure traits. It was you're athletic, you did this, you did that, and they took him. And now, unprompted, Sean Payton in one of the pressers from the very first presser after rookie minicamp went on like a 5-minute rant about how amazing this dude was. Like literally a 5-minute rant. And
there's articles on him.
It really is. Oh yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
They're like talking about. Unfortunately, my ad blocker is not letting me read them, but they're talking about what you were saying, Rich, is how he's looked completely different coming in. So they really went on transforming your body.
Yeah. So he was put on a regime last season in terms of his strength and conditioning. They gave him you must do this. And he said, I got it. No problem. And he's like, apparently from all reports, he's the dude that all of Broncos country basically like wrote off. And they just said, yeah, we picked him up last year, but he's never going to do anything. So don't worry about it. Who cares? Like, meh. But let's put it this way. You have Evan Ingram, who barely did anything for us last year, and who's basically starting to get towards kind of the kind of pivot point in his career.
Right.
As Broncos country, if you have a guy like Caleb Lohner, who is in an ascension as his NFL career is now just starting, why would you not want to retain him, who you're going to get similar production from, and let him grow with your team?
But
you have no idea. You have no idea where that guy can end up in 2 or 3 years.
But you know, how many other teams are willing to risk taking a shot on the cat? So I think the Broncos are kind of molding him to what they want him to be.
You say that. There was 2 teams at least last season in the end, like nearing the end of this season last year, that tried to pull him away from our practice squad. And this is, by the way, this makes me like actually have a tremendous amount of respect for this kid. Is the Broncos drafted him to say that we believe in you. And he saw the Super Bowl trajectory of the Broncos in terms of how well the team was doing and like just like the vibes and everything that were going on within the team in terms of coaching, next steps, success, etc., etc. So he had 2 other teams try to pull him onto the active 53-man roster near the end of last season and turn them both down. The Broncos then elevated him at the end of last season. You may remember me saying, why is Loner on the field? Well, now we know why. The Broncos rewarded his loyalty to the Broncos organization with a game check for the last game or 2 of the NFL season by elevating him onto the 53-man roster.
Now we won't know his weight probably until like the depth charts come out. Like
267.
How'd that come out so quick?
It came out already.
So he went from 250 to 267. So that's good. That's 17 pounds.
And lean muscle is the report in terms of he's not just like, it's not just bulk, it's like lean muscle mass.
And he's 6'7", folks.
Yeah, so he is not like a small, short, lightweight dude. He is a very tall, like I mean very tall guy. So 267 spanned across his frame is very Gronk-like in terms of his size.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a good story. I like hearing these guys. Like, it's, you know, you said like, you know, your fans
I flipped it to you.
You know, like guys that you're like, man, your fans hated this pick. There's been similar like picks. Like, Justin Boygby was a guy that fans are like, what the hell? And he was like a tweener type. And it's just like, we don't know the plans that regimes have for players. And they're like, hey, dude, it's probably not going to be great for you this season, but we want you to do this. And if you do this, you know, just trust us. And, you know, the guy moves inside and becomes a pass rushing D tackle. And it's just, you're like, oh, okay. Now I see what you guys are doing. So sometimes we, as fans, we got to have a little bit of patience with some of these prospects, especially what if he was a 7th round pick, right? Or
he was almost Mr. Irrelevant.
So so he's a holy traits player, right? Yeah. And they're like, we can probably do something with this kid.
So here's the kicker. Loner was selected over the Washington Commanders running back. Remember the guy? I can't remember. He's got like a 3-part name.
Yeah. Oh God, now you made me forget. ATR? No, that's the quarterback.
No, it's the other guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, that like the so let's put it this way. I totally understand where Broncos fans and like the analysts were coming from, because the Broncos last season, and this is very narrow-minded, but this is also something important. The tight end position has 2 issues. Number 1, you're basically Crockett. That's right. Yeah, Crockett. 100% Crockett. So the tight end position has got some really interesting things with it, right? You're basically a wide receiver and an offensive lineman rolled into one. And make no mistake, the tight end position is one of the hardest to transition to in the NFL, period.
Well, and that's why one of the cases for that up until recently was tight ends usually didn't blossom until their second contract. It
Yes.
took a while for these guys to get going in the NFL. They're a late blooming position. And, until recently, we've seen with some of these younger guys like Brock
Bowers. Yeah.
Some of those Trey McBride, some of those guys.
I would argue Kelsey was one of those rare air guys too.
I felt like Kelsey wasn't good when he got right with the Chiefs.
No, he had his first year where he was mediocre, but come his second and third year, he was good.
So there's probably a few. There's a few guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but your point is completely correct, which is
like Gates wasn't good right out of the bat.
It's one of those positions that has those one of those kind of bell curve looking things in terms of like you're mediocre and then you just have this like vertical hockey stick curve in terms of production and everything. And
right. And it's not I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's not a long career either. I mean, so
yes,
that's why I'm kind of excited with the guy we picked up from the Ravens, Charlie Kohler. The guy was a horrible blocker. He was a pass catcher, and then he learned to block with the Ravens and became their better blocker. It was the first thing Sean said about Loner. He was no problem with contact. Knew exactly what he was saying.
And just to kind of add some context, Cornbread is correct. Loner as a former basketball player, kind of like Gates, as you mentioned there, DZ.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for you to get familiar with that like aggressive contact that you get at the NFL level, which is totally unique to the NFL and football.
Let's face it, man. These basketball players these days are not built for contact.
No, they're not. And so Loner came out having added, as you mentioned, like 17 pounds, bulked up, worked on the things that the team had given him to work on, and he looks like a totally different dude.
I'd love to see picture. I'd have to. I got an ad blocker. If I can get past this ad blocker, I can look at this article, one of your Broncos articles.
Yeah, he came out with a couple of videos. He did an interview and stuff. You can see him filled out through the upper body and the chest
because he's got this super wide, like these shoulders, like he's a
massive dude, like massive.
He's got a weird build.
Well, he's got the prototypical basketball build.
That's what I'm looking at.
But
now there we go.
Yeah, but now that he's filled out, he's got the football body to play at a successful position. You know what I mean?
Good for him. I'll tell you. Yeah. So Sean Pavin out of nowhere. I'll tell you who stood out.
Yeah, he just said, "I'll tell you who stood out: Caleb Loner." And they're like, "What?"
I wonder if he trained at the Broncos facility in the offseason or went somewhere else.
But anyways, that's one guy that I think that Broncos country and frankly the rest of the show and the audience here needs to pay attention to. He's a guy that most Broncos fans didn't have on their radar. They just assumed he was going to be chucked on the practice squad and forgotten about. I honestly think that the Broncos are going to have to make a pretty tough decision with him. And I think that it's going to come down to Caleb Loner making the 53 or Evan Ingram making the 53.
You think they might cut because they might be scared again of Loner getting poached because this time maybe he might not have a choice.
No, I don't even think he'll make it through the waivers.
Right. So and then Evan Ingram wasn't really a huge factor, and maybe they see more in this guy, and then they could, who knows?
If you see a guy that's taken that next step up in that trajectory,
right,
and Evan Ingram is basically just the same guy you signed, you have to take the risk on the young guy as an ascending team. You have to.
I mean, you got to look at the tight end room as a whole, though. Like that's one thing that you got to. So it's like, all right, who's your Y? Who's your pass catcher? Let's see.
Well, here's the deal. You're going to have Adam Troutman, who's going to be the savvy veteran who's going to help out the young guys develop.
Mm-hmm.
He's also a Sean Payton guy who's going to basically be another coach on the field. You're then going to have Justin Jolie.
That's your new one, right?
That's the new one. You're
Is it
then going to
Jolie or
have
Jolly?
Jolie.
Okay.
Now, just as an FYI, his nickname is Big Christmas.
Great nickname. I'm a nickname guy. I mean, we got
Yeah,
Tokyo
yeah,
Toe, we got
yeah.
White Christmas or whatever. Freaking fantastic. I'm all
Mhm.
for the nicknames.
So Big
Palcho.
Christmas, Palcho. Yeah,
We missed out on Vanilla Gorilla though.
Oh, dude, that guy's the bomb. He's in Chicago.
Yeah, God, dude, Chicago killed it. They had a great
Yeah,
draft as well.
yeah. But so we got Big Christmas and we got Palcho, and so I think you're going to see a tight end room. This is my prediction: is you're going to have Adam Troutman, you're going to have Justin Jolie, you're going to have Declan, who is the large guy that we picked in the latter part in the 7th round. He is a blocking tight end, but he's basically your Adam Troutman heir apparent. Okay, so you're going to want Troutman and him kind of together, and then you get into this interesting thing, and I think Caleb Lohner is the 4th. And I think he replaces Evan Ingram.
You don't see one of those other guys getting put down to the practice squad?
Dalen Bentley. Yeah, sorry, that's correct. Dalen Bentley is the other guy I was referring to there, which is 4 tight ends. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. And Cornbread, I'm curious as to your thoughts. This is what my theory is. I believe the team is going to cut Adam Prentice, and I think that they're going to keep Nate Adkins as the fullback tight end combo. And I think for a few select games, depending on injuries and everything else, they'll elevate Prentice because Prentice is definitely a Sean Payton guy. And just to be clear, I mean, DZ, you know this from my previous shows. I called Adam Prentice beating out everybody else on the roster for the fullback position last season. Like as soon as we brought him in, I'm like, he's winning the job. And everyone in the chat's like, no. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I don't think you understand. This dude is like that good. And he did, by the way. He won out the job and he beat everybody. So anyway.
I mean, speaking of, are you going to continue? I was going to say, speaking of tight ends, I was going to jump over to some tight end.
David Njoku coming to your team as a tight end.
Not just David, by the way. I thought this was a nickname, but he's actually a real chief. He is a chief in Nigeria, I guess. I did not know that. But are you looking at Jack's messages? Not an Atkins fan. Drops ball, consistently injured.
Atkins is a primary. So Atkins reminds me a lot of, if you remember Joel Dreesen, Nate Atkins reminds me a lot of Joel Dreesen. So Joel Dreesen was never brought in as a pass catching tight end, but Peyton Manning basically forced him to become a pass catching tight end. Nate Atkins was always basically a guy like Declan Bentley. He was meant to be that inline blocker, but turned out to be a scary, like a talented pass catcher when required. Atkins, I'm going to challenge you a little bit on the Atkins dropping balls thing. You need to look at what are deemed catchable versus non-catchable. A lot of quarterbacks make mistakes when they throw to tight ends because they're taller and bigger dudes, and they make errant throws when they're throwing to these big guys because they think that they are bigger than they are, and they throw wide or high. So you need to look at how those balls were thrown. In my opinion, from what I've seen from Atkins, he's a way better pass catcher than fans and fanalists give him credit for. Analysts give him no credit, so I don't even listen to them. I think they're absolute just trash for the most part. But if you look honestly at how Atkins has played, he is a way better tight end than Broncos country gives him credit for. But the one thing that we don't give him credit for is the fact that he has, as part of both college and the NFL, fullback and tight end experience, and he can pass catch. So, DZ, go over to you. I just need to quickly let the dog outside, and I'll be right back in just a minute. But
rock and roll.
let's hear from you in terms of your new tight end additions on the Chargers as a combative piece, because Njoku is no small thing.
No. So Chargers, going into the draft, really only had Aronde Gadsden and then Charlie Kohler, the guy they signed from Baltimore Ravens. Gadsden's, I think he had like the 15th best rookie season or something as a tight end last year. 6'5", 236 pounds. I'm sure they had him gain weight. He's more that pass catching kind of tight end. And then they brought in Charlie Kohler, 6'6", 250 pounds. A guy I'm super high on. I was a fan of his last year with the Ravens. We got to see him. He was debuted like a few games with injuries to Mark Andrews or Isaiah Likely. He was more of their blocking guy, which is kind of weird because he was not asked to block at all in college. So he had to learn to block. And if you're learning to block and becoming a good blocker in the AFC North, you're doing something right. And I like his hands. He's got great hands as well. But we go into the draft with just these two guys, and then you have a lot of like practice squad kind of guys, and you're not feeling too confident about the room. And then you come out of the draft not drafting a tight end, and you're like, okay, here, what's going on? And, I was like, okay, they're going to bring in Darren Waller or Jonnu Smith, and they bring in my number one guy in David Njoku. He's 29, 6'5", 236. We all know what David Njoku can do when he's healthy. Now, the last 2 seasons, he's had a nagging knee injury. Really hampered him, his progress. But in the last 2 seasons, he's also played with, I believe, 7 different quarterbacks. This guy has been with the Browns his entire career, 9 seasons. He's last 2 seasons, like I said, 7 quarterbacks. He's only been a part of 2 winning seasons. So I'm not saying I don't think he's washed at all. Do I think he's the 23 Pro Bowl caliber guy? Is he going to be that this year? Maybe not. You know what I mean? They signed him to a 1-year, up to $8 million deal. So it's like a $3 million base, and then there's incentives for it to be more. And I think what they're doing is he's going to bet on himself, ball out this season if he stays healthy, and land himself, one more large contract with the Chargers or with another team. I mean, he's not old, 29. He's kind of like on the tail end, but I'm excited because that just, that's a high. It's like to me with the contract, it's like a low risk, high reward if he hits. The guy he's an amazing pass catcher, amazing red zone, threat. Even not even just the red zone. I mean, the guy can really play anywhere in the field, but now he's not known for being a high-end blocker, which I'm fine with. That doesn't bother me. But we're seeing, as fans, the tight ends, the twin tight end sets are taking over. That's especially in the run game. We're seeing a lot of, 2 tight end sets to 3 tight end sets. We're seeing a lot of this where they can run and pass out of it. And to me, that just...
For those that are football geeks, that is the 12 and 13 personnel.
Correct.
So,
and those 3 tight ends that we have, health is also a thing. When they line up on the field, are they running, you passing, you running, you passing, you don't know. So you're keeping defenses on their toes. And I mean, he's excellent. It's just those nagging knee injuries. We'll see if he can get over it. Dude's a force. I'm stoked. He's awesome guy. Honestly, I prefer him over Waller, But I was surprised that he didn't go for more. I think maybe people were scared with his injuries, or maybe he was just choosing where he wanted to go. But what's up, Jack? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, what's up, fellas? Richie, happy birthday. DZ, congratulations on your fishing trip. Dude, those fish look good. I want to come over to your house for dinner, bro.
What people don't know what you're talking about. I was on a deep sea trip last week, 3-day tuna trip off the coast of Baja, and got 6 bluefin tuna. And I live in Maryland, so that was just shy of $1,000 to get my meat processed and shipped to my house. Was no cheap thing by any means. I got to give some tuna away today to my neighbor, so she's gonna give me some duck. Her husband got some duck and geese or goose. I don't know if I want any goose, but I will take duck.
Oh, goose is just like duck, dude. It's just a lot bigger.
Yeah,
and fattier.
Yeah,
if you take the skin off of it, with all the fat and so forth. I just got done cooking this. I don't know if you can see it.
Nice. It looks a little well done.
It's just on the grill side. It's just grill marks.
Okay. All right. Take your word for it.
I'll believe that when I see it.
Jack, are you sure those aren't tofu?
Oh, no, not tofu, bro.
Well, you do live in California.
I got to drop this off because they're done.
You do live in California.
I don't know what happened with the first link, but that one was weird. It's like everything was black.
I'm going to respond like cornbread. Like if he does this, I'm totally fine with it. You know what I mean? Like doesn't bother me one bit if he does slow plays the entire season and then just balls out towards the end to stay healthy. I'd actually prefer that. And then because my whole main goal is 1, winning the division, 2, winning a playoff game.
So I had to restart my phone, DZ. You were mentioning the stats on Nagoku. And I was like, when I saw that, I was like, holy crap. That's such a huge signing for your team.
Jack, in addition to that, just to add on to your comment there, the Chargers also signed him for approximately half of the contract that was originally slated in the early onset of the offseason. I think a lot of people don't realize is that they were originally projecting Njoku getting, basically double what the Chargers signed him for.
What?
And so, yeah.
You makes you wonder, Richie, like something else going on? Are they taking a shot on him? Possibly. I mean, he's 29. He's, like I said, kind of at the tail end, but like, dude, it was only a few years ago that he was that Pro Bowl, like dominant dude, right? Like in 23. And like I said, you're hampered with nagging injuries. You're on a losing team. You've only had 2 winning seasons your entire career, 9 seasons, right?
Yeah.
You've played with like 13 quarterbacks or whatever it is. We know
it is the craziest stat in the
13
NFL.
13 quarterbacks, really?
Yeah. And the last 2 seasons alone, he played with 7 different quarterbacks. Like, it's hard to build chemistry. It's hard to be motivated. I mean, we know Cleveland's defense is, their dogs, right?
Cleveland's defense is great.
But that offensive side of the ball has been
it's the exact opposite.
Yeah, exactly. Pain in the butt for them. So we'll see.
Well, that just tells you what your GM did for Magic, bro. It's like that's magic. If they got like the contract for half, so they're Cleveland's willing to eat up the other half. Well done. I mean, dude, he's one of the better tight ends, more athletic, just big freaks in the league.
Jack, I think he was a free agent, so I don't think Cleveland's doing anything. But they reported him for 8
Okay, so he's a free agent. Yeah, well,
happy birthday.
They still got him for a half, dude, of what he's supposed to get. I just think he wants to play. I think he probably saw his options. He goes, man, I can play with Herbert.
Well,
and I look at the wide receivers, and I have the potential to break out. Is it 1 year?
Yeah, I think this is like I was mentioning. I don't know if you popped on. I think this is him betting on himself. Like I think this is like they're like, hey, dude, like ball out. Like let's just see. And
I agree. I agree.
Another contract, like like
DZ, this is exactly what I think it is. Is I know how good I am, and I've never been given a fair shot.
right.
Let
Bet
me
on
let
himself.
me let me take a lesser contract, play with a better quarterback, and let me show you how good I am. Jarku, this here is my dog Bronco.
Hey, what's up, Bronco? Bronco's getting big.
Well, he's 12 years old.
Well, it's 12 years old. I thought you had puppies.
He's my elder. He's the one that I've had for ages and ages and ages, and he is quite the stubborn dog. He's the one that clears my yard of anything, including raccoons and everything else. Like he will literally charge a raccoon like it's nothing, and kick the crap out of anything that's in the yard too. He's he's the alpha.
Good-looking pup.
He's let's put it this way. No one's ever accused him of being ugly. We'll just put it that way. So
he's a beautiful looking puppy, Bronco.
Yeah. So he's a Wheaton Terrier, Schnauzer, and Poodle cross. The three breeds. So he's half Schnauzer, quarter Wheaton, quarter Poodle.
Poodles are smart.
And he is a little too smart for his own good, but he's got the stubbornness of the Schnauzer. So, but a great dog overall.
All the traits that I know you love, Richie. So that's got to be your best friend, one of your best friends.
Yeah, he's the bomb. So
look, let me wrap this tight end room up real quick, because for the Chargers, still we don't really technically have. How many do you want to carry in a season? Roughly 3 to 4 in a room.
3 and 1 on the practice squad. If you want to go get 12 personnel, that's 2 tight ends. If you want to go 13 personnel, and you guys both saw this in the second round of the draft this year. Look how many teams went tight end. So I'm sure Rich is going, God damn it. I'm sure you're going, God damn it. You guys keep taking all the goddamn tight ends. What are you going to leave for us? And, that's kind of what we talked about with UDFAs. Between the offensive linemen in the first round, the tight ends in the second round, look how much that pushed quality players further back in the draft.
This was a meat and potatoes draft. I mean, it was these are a lot of like kind of guys, a lot of starters, no real blue chip guys. I feel like there's only a few blue chips. I know Cornbread did call it out. I wasn't going to say anything, Cornbread.
It's a depth draft. The draft is superly, it's a depth draft. You look at how many superstars do you really look that came out of this draft? I mean, you're going, oh, this guy's going to be a superstar. This guy's going to be a superstar. I mean, again, it's way too early to tell, but at the same time, it just didn't feel like one of those drafts going, oh, wow, this is guys like the super game changer.
So this is what I was going to say. This is what's interesting, because for the Chargers, we have Oronde Gadsden going into second year, Charlie Kohler, and then we signed Njoku. And we brought over a real fullback, Alec Ingold. He came over from Miami.
He's a real dude.
He's so then that leaves Scott Matlock. We all remember, I don't know if you guys remember, the Chargers converted a D tackle to try to be a fullback, right? Well, Scott Matlock apparently has said that I thought he was going to transition and just be like a D tackle. He's like, I'm done with this. I'm going back to just being a defensive tackle. Quite the opposite.
Oh, he changed the tune.
Now he is a tight end fullback. He is going and running.
Sorry, who?
D tackle is
the
running.
The big redhead, the defensive tackle that ran fullback last year for the Chargers.
The Chargers guy.
He is now a tight end. He is now training to be a effing tight end, and he's not messing with defense anymore, which is a really interesting thing because they've put work into this guy. So I'm like, is he going to be the fourth guy? Like, is this your new Tucker Fisk? Like, and so, I mean, I was watching him. He was out there running routes. I'm like, oh my goodness. So we'll see how that goes. I mean,
Man, talk about versatiles. Like, you're doing defensive tackle and then running fullback, and now you're going straight up tight end. You're going to be a blocking tight end.
Yeah,
isn't he like 280?
Yeah, exactly, Richie. He's 280.
You better hope that he lost some weight, or maybe not. Maybe, I mean,
Why? I mean, he's running fullback at 280. Play him at tight end. If he must show he's got some hands to be able to do it. Or your coordinator said, "Hey, you're not going to make it at the D tackle spot, so you better find another position."
So if he's 6'3" and 280 pounds, if he can get down to like 275,
he's 6'4", 296. I don't know what his
crap. He's bigger than me and Richie were thinking the same thing.
He's 6'4", 296. I'm sure they had him shed a few pounds because this is going off last year's. So last year he was a fullback D line. This year he is fullback tight end. So yeah, we'll see, man, dude. We'll see, buddy.
But actually, it's funny you mentioned that though. When you look at how the fullback position is used in today's NFL overall, you just need sure hands in short yardage plays.
Yeah.
You need a blocker.
And the ability to push the pile to force like the holes for the running back to get 3 and 4 yards like as a guaranteed short yardage play.
I mean, he's going into his last year, I think, for his 4th year.
Yep.
And he's doing, it seems like every year it's been something different with this guy. And they're like, there's something with this guy. There's something in you. We're just going to find your niche in this league. So I'm rooting for him. It's just not over the other 3 we have at tight end. You know?
Yeah, but do you know what the thing is though? Is he's probably so athletic. Like so athletic that your coaching staff is just looking at this guy and saying like, one, if we cut him, he's being picked up by somebody else.
They're going to take a shot on him, yeah.
Like for sure.
I mean, the Giants the Ravens, somebody with that familiarity with the scheme.
Steelers, Ravens, Giants, even Seattle has the potential for that kind of stuff. The 49ers are another team that could take a flyer on a guy like that guy because like they're going to need to find a dude that they believe can really kind of like fill that void in terms of that like aggressive running style football.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few other teams that I'm sure I'm missing in that list, but that's just 5 off the top that I think could absolutely take this guy in a fullback hybrid role.
It's going to be interesting. Like, what do they do? Like, you don't want. I'm like, you're going to carry four tight ends and or 3 tight ends and 2 fullbacks, or no? So one of these guys.
They're going to battle out and training camp, and the best man wins.
Yeah, I mean, you got
no, but this guy's a special teams guy too, right?
Yes, so he does. Yep, special teams as well.
So what is I don't remember. What does he do in special teams?
Probably everything.
Yeah, he's on the line. he's on the lines for punt and punt return. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm like just kind of puzzled as you guys are. I was shocked to see that, but you always seem to think that you want to have 4, and you can even put your 4th probably in the practice squad, and that's a guy you elevate, because you're gonna have injuries, right?
I don't think he'll make it past waivers.
Maybe not. That's a shot. But they did waive 2 tight ends. We had 2 tight ends that were kind of floating around these last couple seasons. They waived them. And then we had a guy come in for tryouts, Johnny Pascuzzi. It's definitely some Italian name.
Johnny Pascuzzi.
Tight end, rookie tryouts. And they brought him in. And I looked him up from Tulane, and he looks he does not look like anything special. So I don't know what they're seeing in him opposed to these other guys. And then we brought in international guy from the Eagles last year, some tackle, ex-rugby, another rugby guy. So that's another fun dude. Lakin, I'm not going to even try to pronounce his last name. I'd have to look it up. But yeah, man, I'm still going now with this tight end room. You know what I mean? I was having real questions about it. Still some question marks, but
Oh man, I think Njoku's going to change your offense dramatically. I really do. I think he's one of the better talents. Between height, he's an Al Davis guy. The nation would love if we didn't have our tight ends already. Height, weight, speed, type of tight end. And again, you guys mentioned 13 quarterbacks, and he's like coming off his rookie contract, 4 years. 4 years.
No. Njoku, 9 years.
9 years. Okay, so okay, I apologize.
9 years. But Jack, your point though is overall from what you just said is 100% correct. If you are a dude that has had like more than 3 quarterbacks throwing you the ball, and you're still able to show yourself out as a upper echelon tight end at the NFL level, you are definitely something special, because like that shows that you're versatile enough in order to adapt to whatever is literally thrown your way. Because you have no idea the nonsense that he's probably had to catch.
Oh my God, that's more than one quarterback per year. And it's like, and again, the Chargers got McDaniels, watching in the chat earlier in the show. McDaniels, didn't do the offensive line. He went pure weapons. All things. So now he's got a weapon, and the Chargers definitely like focus on the offensive line. I mean, you got two all pros, and almost all your draft picks are on the offensive line. So I can see him getting put into a lot of positions to be successful. So he's actually going to be he's for the Chargers. He's probably one of the most interesting players I'll be watching this year, because I just think when you're doing the short yardage, man, he can go long if you want to, longer, I should say. But you give him that type of time, you got a quarterback like Justin Herbert. He could have a breakout year, and again, him betting on himself. I don't know if you can keep him next year, but damn, if halfway through the season and if he's like showing out, fucking extend him. I apologize for cursing.
I'm not going to pretend.
It's goddamn, it's like he could be good.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend, Jack, that I know what this offense is going to look like at all. I mean, this is a whole new beast. There's new moving parts, new offensive linemen, new weapons, new running backs. It's I don't envy the offensive guys right now, the offensive coordinators especially, building this offense. I'm sure there's going to be some growing pains, but
well, that's with any new offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, new regime. But you know what? Your head coach did it. I mean, I do have trust in Harbaugh. I mean, you look at what he's done, and you look what Sean Payton's done. I mean, in the short times, and Sean Payton at the same time was negative like $80 million in cap space.
Yeah.
So, and you look what your teams have done. So,
have you guys all signed
very impressive.
Richie, have the Broncos signed all your guys' draft picks?
Nearly all of them.
We have 2, I think we haven't signed.
Yeah,
what
nearly
about
all of them.
Jack, do you know about your Raiders?
There's 3 unsigned. So Mendoza's not signed. And then, McCoy,
okay.
Again was predicted to be a top 10 pick. He dropped down to the 4th round. I think he's looking for more guaranteed money. He hasn't signed. And there is one more. Oh, Crawford.
Okay.
The 3rd round pick, defensive end out of Auburn, who his play was just as good as the guy that they drafted from Auburn in the 1st round. So I don't know. I mean, maybe he's going, hey, my teammate was drafted in the 1st round. My tape shows just as good as him, so maybe he wants whatever it is more. And as we all know, going from year to year, last year it's like, guys in the 2nd round, because teams like Cleveland messed up, and I think the Jets messed up and started giving guaranteed money in the 2nd round. So I think it's kind of pushing pushing it down even further and further. So I feel they'll work it out.
Yeah, I think we
I ain't worried about it.
Our first and fourth round, Mesidor and Brendan Thompson. Still got to pay those guys, but we got everybody else locked up.
I did want to just bring up some interesting pieces here. So the Broncos have started, you can kind of see the approach that they've taken to their roster the offseason is they're casting a wide net to resolve some of the quirks that they had on the roster last year, running back and tight end being two of the bigger ones.
Those are the big ones.
Right? Those are the big ones for the Broncos.
Yeah.
We had a poor running game and an almost non-existent tight end room.
Yeah, weapon wise, like pass catching wise, your tight end room non-existent, like you said. And then when JK went down, it was like
it was the running game
that
went away
offense
too.
just went. Whoop, it stopped. It was weird.
Yeah. So, there's also some talk which I think is rather interesting. And by the way, my comments here are going to mirror the actions of the Denver Broncos football team. So I feel pretty confident in saying this aloud because it's what I said kind of near the end of last year too, which is the Broncos wide receiver room was originally looking like it should have been better than it was. I believe we made a few mistakes in the wide receiver room by not giving some of the UDFA speedsters the chance that they deserve to prove themselves. But ultimately, I think the Broncos attempted to course correct the season by bringing in more competent wide receiver weapons as well for Bo Nix. So we traded away the first pick and did a third pick swap kind of deal to eventually get Jalen Waddle. And I think that he is being sought after as the speedster wide receiver option for my Denver Broncos. And so I think that that's certainly, the thought process there. Now, I also want to mention that the Broncos had a tryout with a wide receiver, Mike Woods. And he was kind of like this weird out of left field guy that came in as a wide receiver veteran from the NFL. And they signed him almost right away. So it's clear that the Broncos really liked what they saw from him. Something to throw out there. I'm not a huge fan of bringing him in because I want the younger guys to get the reps and I want the younger guys to kind of either prove themselves or not.
Right.
But they obviously really liked him and brought him in as a depth piece at the wide receiver position. And we also signed Paul Manning as a DB tryout guy to a contract as well. As a result, we actually waived Deuce Vaughn, which is what I was saying. The Broncos knew they needed wide receiver help, so they kept everybody at the wide receiver position. And we're starting to see the Broncos narrow down the wide receiver room to the best possible talent to hone in on that skill position, which is good. And then we also waived William Wright as a UDFA player to make room for Paul Manning, who they liked. By the way, they play very similar positions in terms of on the field.
Woods guy, to me, Richie, just screams camp body. He's got NFL. He's got three seasons of experience.
Yeah,
it screams camp body, and it screams like, "Hey, we don't want to put any extra wear and tear on our ponies if we don't have to."
I agree. But ultimately, when you look at him, he is a better than average wide receiver. So he's going to be a dude that's going to start pushing some of the younger guys to get better and improve faster and that kind of stuff too, which I'm not opposed to bringing in someone like that. But I'm just saying is that he's an interesting player because he displaced Deuce Vaughn as well as William Wright as a potential prospect for the team. And then as we kind of truck forward and move on and start looking ahead, we're going to start hearing more and more from certain players in terms of where they stand, how they stack up, etc. We're hearing a lot about Jonah Coleman at a Broncos training camp in terms of how good he's looking. We're hearing quite a bit about Cage Casey, who I believe, is a great athlete, but I suspect that once the pads come on, views will be different, for lack of a better word. I think Cage Casey is a guy that looks great on tape and on paper, but ultimately will be brought down a peg or two once pads and hitting and contact takes place. And I think that other guys will step into those roles to be the more physical offensive lineman roles once the pads and the contact start taking place. And by the way, Sean Payton said that as well in the Broncos presser.
I feel like
Yeah.
the Broncos, Richie, just you guys only have like a few spots open to really make the team. Essentially, it was pretty stacked to begin with, like solid. Like I mean, like out of the teams, I'm really curious. I mean, this is not being like disrespectful. I'm super curious about what the Raiders do because that they're rebuilding that whole damn team. It seems like who sticks and whatever. Like if you make the Broncos, good luck.
Well, we looked at the Broncos last year. How many guys, we on the shows that we did together, guys, how many guys did the Broncos resign? So they didn't have that many slots opened up. It's just certain things. So the Broncos had the luxury, the pure luxury to go and burn a first round pick and a third round pick and whatever else that was involved with the Waddle trade.
They're being really
to
smart.
Get that guy. They're at that. The Broncos are at that spot where they can do that.
They were pretty smart last year, just signing guys. You would see like that Broncos would sign a guy, and you're like, "Where'd that come from?" Like, like during the season or something, and then Torrey in New York is only developing.
And in DZ, you talked about the Raiders. So nine rookies out of 11 stuck on the team. So 9. And Pete Carroll, was really bad about being a coach that developed players. His compete, win now mode. So that's nine players, and most of them didn't really see the field. So you have 9 players that you really don't even know about coming into this year. And the Raiders had 10 draft picks right now. So 19 out of a 53-man roster. We don't know. We got a new head coach, or we got a new defensive coordinator. It's like, so you don't know. That's why I'm finally proud that, the Raiders said, we're not retooling. We are going to do a rebuild. So the expectations are there. It's about the rebuild. And I like what SpyTech has done. Hey, our biggest needs. You guys saw your guys' mock draft. I was in the chat. And a lot of the stuff that happened, none of the guys that I drafted ended up making, were drafted by the Raiders. And the only one that Richie and I had this conversation with was Hemby, but he was a UDFA when we did the UDFA show.
It's kind of surprising, right?
Yeah, I thought that was a surprising one. So, I mean, there's so many unknowns. So this year it's like test it out. Just, just throw the spaghetti on the wall and just see what sticks.
Yeah. I wonder what they're going to do, man. Like, Richie, what do you think they do? They go over last year's film with all these guys?
Yes. Yes. I think that's exactly what the Raiders do. I think the Raiders are going to go over last year's film, and they're going to take the traits that apply to the current offensive scheme, and they're going to adjust accordingly. And they're going to give guys shots where they think that they deserve it. And I think this year in particular, Jack, this is going to be an unpopular but probably expected opinion, is the Raiders are going to have a much improved year just because you have actual competency within your building, in my opinion. I'm sorry, it's just a fact.
No, I agree with that.
And
I agree with that.
And I think you're going to see an improved
but not
team
the first part.
overall. However, I think that you're going to see certain guys on your roster that you would have expected to do really well, not do well. And then I think you're going to see certain guys that were like the flyer picks that we're talking about kind of on this show here, like the dudes that you're like, yeah, maybe, and you're going to be like, where did that guy come from? Because at the end of the day, your current regime is attempting to retool to fit the new coaching staff that's in the building.
We're going to call it a rebuild, Richie. I call it a rebuild.
Well, you rebuild, whatever the case may be, but you're trying to basically restock the shelves to fit the new direction of the new team with that new mental mindset. And you have a ways to go to adjust accordingly and to start building the talent pipeline that the
Right.
best teams in the NFL have. I will credit my Broncos for building this with George Payton, which is the Broncos at a multitude of positions have this like churning talent pipeline that is like constantly there to fill in when injuries are present. Like the Broncos had a multitude of injuries near the end of the season, and we basically almost made the Super Bowl, right? Like as a team,
Right.
and that shows how like well run the organization is in terms of head coach and GM and the scouting staff. And so I kind of see the Broncos as being quite close to hitting where they need to get to. I just hope that they don't waste it. Now, I do want to comment on the on Cornbread here and
Well,
his.
can I answer? One thing I disagreed about with your take is that this offense, looking at Seattle, Raiders didn't run a wide zone scheme. And we look at what Seattle did, what Kubiak, he ran that wide zone scheme. So that is a new scheme. So that's where I agree with you 100%. In the offensive lineman, the potential they had last year to fit Pete Carroll's scheme versus a Kubiak scheme. So because when you run the wide zone, that's all you're asking the players to do things totally different than what they had to do last year. So that's where I'm like, yes, I totally agree with that. And like, you're right. And I think there'll be certain guys, man, they may fit, they may not fit. So yes,
and I think you're going to be surprised at who they trade away. Is my point. Like I think you're going to be surprised. Like let's put it this way, I could see the Raiders trading away JPJ.
I still don't.
No. Well, like I said, he's a guy that I think fits a power scheme and not necessarily a zone scheme, as well as you think he might. And I think
a good point. That's a very valid point.
And I think that JPJ would make for great trade bait to another team that needs a center, like a pure center who plays a power scheme as opposed to a zone scheme, which is what Kubiak runs.
The NFL just saw what the Raiders paid Linderbaum.
Yes, exactly.
Well, yeah, 28 million per year. Yeah. And here's the thing.
Prices.
So not only is JPJ, a Calder, champion, at center, he can go to center. And you guys were talking about it earlier on the show with Meredith. No, Zune, again, who was a left tackle and played center, he can play all 5 spots. He can also play center. So you got 3 guys now that can play center. And so Meredith, I don't ever see him going back to center. If Meredith is going to be right now, I feel the Raiders keep 9 guys. He might be the last guy cut. Who knows?
You don't agree with Nav on.
No, well, I agree with them on. I don't see Buford. Again, I got top 9, so he's one of the top 9. But I see Buford and I see Meredith battling out for that last spot.
So you still think JPJ is a starting guard?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean that's a lot of centers. I mean,
yeah.
Well, there's multi-talented. JPJ plays center, and he's rated the best center coming out of college. And he's playing guard because he's such a big boy, right? I mean, when you're talking 325 to 328 pounds at 6'2", 6'3", he's versatile enough to where he can do that. The whole thing, again, you guys were talking about the helmets. Can he stay healthy? That's the question. But Zune, he was a left tackle for most of his time, in college. He played center last year, and they got him in the 3rd round. And of course, Linderbaum is going to be the pure starter. So you got versatile offensive linemen, they can be shuffled around. So where does that really leave Meredith? It really doesn't leave him anywhere because Meredith showed he can't play center.
I agree with that. Yeah, I totally agree with that. I do want to quickly address this take here by Cornbread, though, real quick on the Broncos. So I'm sorry, but you're probably not going to like my take on York. I believe York gets overpowered at the NFL level. I think York is that unfortunate, like weird tweener guy that doesn't quite make it at the NFL level, but is awesome in college. So college, I think he had a great career and I think he did some great things. but I think that he's a little bit too small and not fast enough. So he's in that weird category, right? Where in college, I think he was like really good because he was super physical for his size. But at the NFL level, you're just simply dealing with a different breed. You're dealing with guys that are fast and strong, and even if they're small, they're still strong and fast. And York, I think, is just going to struggle, in my opinion, at the NFL level. Now, I have been wrong before, and I will be wrong again. But my hot take on York is I think Deshaun McCullough is the guy that overshadows York in terms of size, height, speed combination. And I think York is going to struggle with the size and speed at the NFL level because I think he's going to get overpowered. That's my general take. Could be wrong. I might be wrong, and that's totally cool too. And by the way, like I want the kid to succeed because I want him to do well. He seems like an absolute standout in terms of character and whatnot. But overall, I don't think he's going to succeed at the NFL level as I believe you think he will be. And I do believe, however, to kind of go back on your previous take earlier in the show, I do think Red is going to do really well, though. I think that dude is going to kill it at the NFL level. He's going to start challenging Jordan Turner and Corinne Reed, in my opinion.
Wait a minute. I thought Red. Wait, I thought DZ's team took Red. Was your team? No, okay. I'm looking forward to watching him because, yeah, I know we talked UDFA, Richie. It's like, and I want to circle back just real quick and then salute out to 805. And I'll talk about the Bakersfield event here in a moment. But I mentioned a guy from my hometown. He in the Sacramento area, guy Kane Sloan, defensive end. After they traded Tyree Wilson, they got rid of him and they cut Snowden. And I didn't know this at the time because the information was not out there. You talked about your highest paid UDFA. And the defensive end they got from North Carolina, Wolfpack, 6'4", 252, from Rockland, California, which is 20 minutes away from my home. He had a PFF grade of 77.3, 35 pressures, 2 sacks, 23 hurries, 10 quarterback hits, 54 solos, 7.5 sacks, 7 second all-team Mountain Division. I just found out just recently he is the highest paid UDFA the Raiders signed. I didn't know that at the time when we did it together, but just to circle back because it kind of completes them. And 805, I owe him 2 pitchers of beer. And DZ, you talked about your redhead defensive lineman at 294 playing fullback. When the Raiders got JJ Pequise last year, he had he had like 7 or 8 touchdowns on the offensive side, and 7 of his 8, carries were first downs. He just carried people. And I bet this guy who's in our chat right now, it's like, I bet him 2 pitchers of beer, I'd get 1 carry out of 1 carry, not 1. So I'll see you in Bakersfield. The Raiders have an event going on Saturday, and I'm going up to it.
All right.
I'll leave tomorrow night.
Before we end the show, we already know Richie's team, who they open up with, Kansas City Chiefs. We got a division rivalry game. Week 1. Jack, give me your prediction who you think the Raiders open up the season with against. Because this is all coming out tomorrow, so just give me a prediction.
Oh, I don't even know. It kind of leaked that KC and the Broncos are going to play each other.
Right.
So I kind of think, our teams may play each other unless you've heard something different.
The one thing I've heard about the Raiders is their last game of the season is in LA on the road. That's the only thing I've heard. And I don't even know if that's true.
Yeah, I have no idea. The only other one I can think of, which could be a big one, is there's a lot of talk right now, the Raiders and 49ers playing each other, which I heard there's some debate. The Niners don't want to do this in the way of going to Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And, again.
Well, no, there's no AFC teams, no AFC West teams have international games.
Oh, so, none. Okay.
None.
So they're not going to go to Mexico because that was like a thing the Raider Nation runs Mexico and runs pretty much most of California.
Yeah.
So the Niners didn't, from what I heard, they didn't want to do it.
I mean,
so
that's out west. That's the other fan base that could rival you guys, though.
Well, yeah, that's the one in Northern California. It's like, as being a kind of little bit of a historian, they stopped Raider Niner preseason games because they used to do it because it's cheap, right?
Right.
I mean, literally, like you can see one stadium from the other stadium across the bay. So they would do that because it was cheap money, but the fans would always get in fights and people were getting stabbed.
Yeah.
And they stopped that for like over a decade. I don't know. Maybe it might be, the Niners. I have no clue.
Well, 805 thinks it's the Dolphins. I'm going to say for my team, I hope it's not the Ravens because I want to go to that game. It's in Baltimore. I'm just going to throw out Houston Texans. That's who we open up with. I'd love to get a win on those guys. They've been a bane in my ass all for a few years here now. But we'll see tomorrow. I'm excited for schedule release. Anybody know what time it pops out on it?
I don't.
No.
It's normally 5 to 6 Eastern Standard where they start releasing stuff.
Dolphins Raiders game. That's going to be 2 new regimes going at each other. That'll be a fun game.
So, Jack, my prediction, if that's in fact the case, is I'm calling it right now. The Raiders blow out the Dolphins. Like not even just like, hey, we won. My prediction is that the Raiders will come out and they'll basically end up with like a 35 to 18 kind of win against the Dolphins.
I got to get a better look at the Dolphins again
because I think that the Raiders are like they're going to be the adults in the room. The Raiders are run by a coach that knows what he's doing. He's got the pedigree of his father. He's got a Super Bowl winning pedigree given that his time with the Seahawks. And he has been quite literally, and I'm using this word very intentionally here, groomed his entire life to end up where he's at right now with the Las Vegas Raiders. So I truly believe that you have a collective group of adults within the organization right now within the Raiders. And I think that the Raiders are going to basically buzzsaw through like the dumpster fires, like the Dolphins and other teams like that are just not run well right now in the NFL. However, Jack, I do think that the Raiders are going to struggle a little bit against the NFL teams that play like the like chess matches, like as in like piecing on the board sort of things, because your coach doesn't have that level of experience just yet. And I think that you're going to end up with like let's put it this way. I think Kubiak against Sean Payton, I think Sean Payton kills him.
Would your team versus my team?
Yeah. Like I just think Sean Payton kills him. I think that Davis Webb plus Sean Payton is going to equal a real challenge for someone like Kubiak, as an example. I think there's going to be a few other teams that you guys are going to play this year that are going to, like Andy Reid, for example. I actually think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a real challenge for your coaching regime, just because he's a savvy veteran coach. I also think that this guy's head coach over here.
Wrong way.
Well, sorry. That way on my screen that was right. On your screen, that's right. I never know which is which, but ultimately, I truly believe that DZ's coach is a top-notch coach as well in the NFL.
Absolutely.
Who has the ability to play chess when other coaches are playing checkers. And I think that that's going to be a real issue for your head coach this year. I'm not saying he can't get better. I'm saying this year is going to be a challenge.
And I 100% agree with you. Again, I mentioned this earlier, like right now you got 19 new players either first year or second year, who have not played. You got a new head coach. You got a new defensive coordinator who is a defensive line coordinator. It's going to take time to build. We've seen that with every organization. Like when you get a bunch of new stuff in there, you got to be able to build what you're doing in order to, like, to get to that point in the NFL. Because the NFL means not for long, right, guys? I mean, you're the pinnacle of the pinnacle of the pinnacle of the pinnacle. So yes, I totally 100% agree with you. And I saw something I thought was like, the schedule, but I don't know if it was really the schedule. And I looked at that thing and I'm like, man, I saw 6 wins. But I mean, I'll take it. That's double the wins I had last year, and building that depth. And DZ, we talked about there's like no super blue chippers in the draft. So
I mean,
you're really building that depth when a team like my Raiders didn't really have the depth. At 8:05, answer this in the chat. Are you going up on Friday or are you going up on Saturday?
anyways.
So overall, I think that we got some really interesting UDFAs and rookies that are going to really
I still got to
push.
go over mine. You guys did it for me, but I gotta dig into mine.
Look,
Hey.
DZ, go back and watch last week's show with Jack and I. I'm gonna be honest. I really did try to do your team proper. Like I truly tried to give your teams UDFAs the credit that they deserved. And I said it on the onset of the show last week, Jack. You can attest to this, which is
Mhm.
UDFAs are literally one of my favorite parts of the draft. Like every year they are like, again, the Broncos have a storied history of having one or more UDFAs make the 53. And so as a result, it's literally one of my favorite parts of the draft process, which is who do we pick up and who do I think can make it. And almost every year there's at least one or two guys for the Broncos that we seem to be able to find from these, small schools or whatever that end up making the roster, and a good percentage of them kind of hit. So
Yeah, right. And DZ, if you go back and rewatch it, I jumped in a little too early, but I totally agree on Isaiah World. I'm like, when I saw him as your UDFA, I was like, holy crap! How the hell did that kid make it to UDFA?
I think it was his injury, right?
yes.
Yeah, but still, I mean, that dude's got so much potential.
I would have assumed that at least one team would have just taken a 7th round flyer to lock him into their team. In my opinion,
I'm kind of bummed. We already lost one of the UDFAs I was a little high on. Is Jeremiah Wilson. He was a cornerback from Florida State. I followed him on Instagram. Next thing you know, I see him. He's got cut. He's got a boot on. So, but I'm so high on any cornerbacks or DBs that come out of Florida State. That's DBU in my opinion.
Yeah.
But, oh well.
So, anyways, overall, when we look at what's coming out, I think our teams. I think that the Raiders are finally where we thought they would be potentially under Pete Carroll, which is competent leadership and coaching. It's yet to be seen, so we'll see if the regime can kind of pull themselves together this season. I think they will. We are definitely seeing a different approach to the offseason, which as a Broncos fan, I want to see the Raiders competitive, but I hate the fact that I'm seeing actual competency from the Raiders, just because I think they're truly going to be competitive in the very near future. I'm almost seeing the Chiefs decline a little bit compared to the Raiders in terms of how the Raiders are approaching things. And then the Chargers are kind of in a steady state just because the head coach and everything is he's got vision. And again, that's where I think the Raiders are at right now.
I don't know what to tell about the Chiefs. I've dug into them a little bit. I need to dig in them some more.
What's up, Rebel?
They had a really good draft, in my opinion. 2 first-round talents.
Rebel agreed. Miami first week 1. So Raider unleashes Rebel. He's my boy. That was like, if Nab didn't want to do the show, this is the guy right here I wanted to bring in to replace me. So that's Rebel.
Okay, so he's saying at home, though. Okay, at home, Raiders are going to open up at home against Miami. All right. Cool.
Yeah,
Fun
I mean,
game.
I could totally see that happening, and that could well be the point. But like ultimately, I just see that the division has taken the next step forward.
Yep.
And I think the Raiders have kind of shown that they've taken the next step forward. We've seen more competent drafts. I think the Raiders have kind of shown that they have taken a bigger step forward than, say, the Chiefs have taken with what we've seen this offseason. Draft, whatever. I just think that the Raiders have kind of shown that they've taken that like larger step forward in terms of
I agree 100%.
cohesiveness and the direction. So I think
And
that's a big deal.
I'm not sleeping on the Chiefs either.
Well, I would say this about KC. It's like I take for the offense. They got Walker, the running back, is one of their biggest holes. They needed the Super Bowl MVP. But I will say, look at what they did in the draft. Their defense, they got Woods. Way back at the end of the draft, I thought he was going to be the first defensive tackle taken. They drafted defense, just like, DZ, your Chargers drafted offensive line. So I can see the defense being better, but I don't see the offense being better as a whole. I mean,
there's only so much these trick plays that these MFers
here,
get away with.
Jack, let me put it to you guys this way. I had Vic Fangio as my head coach. Vic Fangio had an incredible point differential between teams. So as an example, he kept teams below like 15 points or something as a point differential or less, like basically one-score games across the board. The problem is that because the offense was so putrid, we lost almost all of them. My concern with the Chiefs right now is with Mahomes' injury. And this isn't a knock on the Chiefs or the staff or the coaching or it's just a factual point, which is without Mahomes as your quarterback, and unless Mahomes shows that he can actually take an actual step forward from where he has been the last 2 to 3 years, the Chiefs are not going to be as competitive as Chiefs fans think that they are going to be. Because the Chiefs over the last 2 to 3 years have not been the same team that they have been in years past. They have struggled to get to where they are. They've had some very fluky wins, and you can't sustain wins like that. By the way, if you want a case in point of why that's factually accurate, Sean Payton came out this offseason and said the Broncos cannot refield and expect the same result as we had last season, this season. It is unsustainable for you to win 70 or 80% of your one-score games on a consistent basis. It is not a sustainable statistic. You need to start beating your opponents by more than one score if you want to successfully win games on a consistent basis.
Right.
And the Chiefs failed at doing that last year and the year before. And so now the question is, have they made the needed steps on offense in order to sustain that kind of offensive victory? I do not believe they have. That doesn't mean that they can't be a good team again. Not what I'm saying. I'm simply saying that with the injury to Patrick Mahomes, this is probably going to be a tough year for them. And the following year, 2027, is probably where you need to start looking at the Chiefs more seriously, because I think he'll be back to full strength. Now,
can you imagine if Patrick Mahomes didn't start and it's Minshew? Oh my God!
So anyways, that's
Fields. Justin Fields.
Yeah, Justin Fields. It's Justin Fields.
And they drafted a quarterback too, by the way. Nussmeier.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, he's no slouch, by the way. The guy they drafted is just
Nussmeier. Yeah,
it's just the point is that you need to come up to NFL speed, and the question is, can he do so that quickly to be successful at the NFL level? Yet to be seen is the end answer there, right? So, anyways, looking ahead, look at all the stuff, look at what we have, look at the information before us. The AFC West is, in my opinion, this year going to be what we predicted last year, which is a slugfest between the four teams. We're going to be very competitive. And as a division, I could absolutely potentially predict 2 to 3 teams making it into the playoffs, depending on where we land.
I I only see one team making it. The schedule is going to be brutal. We have a tough opponent schedule. It's going to be a team or two. I feel like our hearts are going to get broke because somebody else is going to come out of left field. I'm really high on the AFC South. Those teams came out of nowhere. They used to be peons, and now they got some dogs, man. I mean, so we'll see.
Yeah, you draft low enough, you're going to become better. That's for sure. Yeah. And I can't wait to watch your guys' show. Like, when, start doing like score predictions, like, once the schedules come out and then once the rosters are set, to see a show that, talks about predictions for wins and losses. So I'm looking forward to that, gentlemen.
Yeah. So, by the way, I mean, look, despite my Broncos doing very well last year, I am always pretty skeptical of the Broncos winning overall, just because I have pretty high expectations as to what it takes to win at the NFL level. So the good news you can get on this show here is you can definitely expect a pretty harsh dose of Broncos reality from me, despite our record last year, which was pretty exceptional. Overall, I think it needs to be kind of called out. But I will certainly be fair as we look ahead to this upcoming season with my Denver Broncos. Most Broncos fans will not like my takes. They just won't. And my answer to that is sometimes you do need someone to come down and bring you back down to earth to make sure that our team continues to self-reflect in terms of what we need to be in order to win the Super Bowl on a consistent basis if we want to start competing to be a dynasty like we've always wanted to be in Broncos country. But with that in mind, I think that we've covered off a lot of ground on the show. There's a lot of information that will come out in the next week or two, I think, for each of the teams, including the second and third waves of free agency signings.
There's still free agents out there. I mean, we just saw Jennings just get signed to the Vikings, which makes sense after losing Naylor to the Raiders.
Yeah. So we're going to get the second and third waves of free agent signings. This will be a lot of the backfilling from what you didn't make up in the draft and that sort of thing. So it'll be a really interesting piece to see who gets what and why, and who thinks that they didn't get what they needed.
Right.
And then
Raiders will still dip into that pool. I think the Raiders, they got
money. There's one. D said, I don't have to say it on the show, but I'll send it to you after. There's one wide receiver that I see. It's one of your boys.
So as we look forward, guys, we'll try and get maybe a common opponent or two from a few different podcasts, maybe on the show in the next week or two, which kind of be a neat little thing. So I'll pull those guys in and get some interesting perspectives on the show here. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want your comments down below. What common opponent in the AFC West would you like us to bring onto the show? And we will do our best to make that happen. And then if you have any other questions for us as a panel, also leave those comments down below. Click that thumbs up, like, and subscribe to the various channels. We have DZ, we have Navman and Raider Shields family here broadcasting live, as well as Captain Jack Rackham, where we are broadcasting live on as well. And of course, my alma mater, as it will, MHRT Network, covering all things Broncos and Denver sports. Go ahead and leave us a thumbs up and a subscribe there to make sure you get your Broncos news. Even if you're not a Broncos fan, it's always a good idea to know your enemy. And ladies and gentlemen, until next week, where the West Side is the best side, we're going to leave you there. Thank you for joining the show. Let's kick this thing off, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Fast lane when I pass in the street, bag of money in the passenger seat. Tempo's been asking for me on the road from the west to the east. Way up, I might never come down, cause the coast racking up the flight miles. So high, I might never come down, so what, this is my lifestyle. Wait a minute.